Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, as we have a loaded show for you today here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're going to get to what to watch, presented by Bryant Technologies, a little vibe check of the chat, presented by Basis Health. We'll also get into Alumni Hall question of the day, a little bit of BetSaracen action for the Arkansas and Tennessee series starting up tonight, which we'll talk about. We'll get to some basketball and everything. And also, former Razorback great Kevin Kopps will be joining us here on the show. Looking forward to catching up with him. But fellas, how we feeling on a Thursday? Baseball tonight. Big basketball decisions happening today. How's the vibe?
The vibe is high. I think we're going to be busy today, so I'm looking forward to it. I got up kind of early this morning. I was like, man, I'm gonna try to get my exercise in the morning before the show. Dude, I went out on a run and I was watching. It's a guilty pleasure, but I just finished Righteous Gemstones, so then I moved on to Vice Principals, and it's just horrible, but it's so funny. I wound up getting in deep on the run, boys. I thought I wasn't gonna make it back. I was like, holy crap, I got to turn around and get home.
So you're watching on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You ever catch yourself veering or running off into anything?
Nah, dude, man, listen, man, my equilibrium is as good as it gets, you know. But when I do that, I go like I get off on the trails instead of like on the sidewalks or the roads.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm gonna run out in front of any cars there. But yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm actually, I finished Gemstones last week and was just talking with Hillary. We were like, we kind of need to do something else. I was like, we might just need to watch Vice Principals. I think she's seen it and says it's funny. But yeah, there is a lot going on today. Decisions need to be made. Asses need to be kicked at Baum Walker Stadium, and it ain't gonna be the Hogs who's getting their ass kicked.
No, that's not how it's gonna be. It's gonna be a great one, and the weather's nice. It looks like actually the weather as good as you could probably ask for the weekend for against Tennessee. It moved out. A lot of the rain moved out. So I know a lot of you are going to be there. Us three, we're going to be there tonight. We're undefeated whenever the Inside Arkansas crew is rolled in. And we're going to look upon building that winning streak tonight. So I'm sure we'll see a few of you out there. Our guy Garrett already said that he's going to be out there too. So it's going to be a great crowd, going to be a great night. And can't wait to see how it all plays out. So we'll begin and talk about that and look into that a lot more as the show goes on too. And of course, get to your chats and everything. But mention the decisions to be made. Yeah, you got JJ Andrews, which I keep wanting to call him JJ Peters because I always got Sean Andrews and Jason Peters mixed up. And now I feel like I'm starting to get his own son mixed up with the other great. But either way, you got JJ Andrews making his decision later this afternoon. People are on pins and needles waiting for that. Of course, continuing to wait on the Karter Knox situation and all of it. But we don't know when the Karter Knox thing is. At least it could be. We don't know. But I feel like hopefully we at least know where JJ Andrews is going to be going because he's pretty much told everybody it's going to be announcing it today. So was it Arkansas, Missouri, LSU? Don't be a Tiger, man. Be a Razorback.
Doesn't it just seem like an easy decision to make here? I mean, what are we doing, my guy? But no, I mean, we talked about JJ on the pod quite a bit, and it's kind of crazy how close this recruitment is because given, all the obvious factors there, you would think it's just like a lock. Man, it really hasn't been. There's been a lot of back and forth over the last few days here this week. Going into the weekend, it felt really, really solid for Arkansas. Missouri was getting a lot of buzz the last couple of days. I know Eric Bossi, he's as good as it gets, and he doesn't miss on like Missouri and Kansas. Like he's so well connected over there. He's been preaching Missouri and has been all over that here down the stretch. It's at the risk of going against him. Based on what I'm hearing, I still feel like he's going to go to Arkansas, man. And so, I'm going to stand on business here and stick with that prediction. We'll see what happens at 4. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I'm sticking with Arkansas here. It would be sick if they wound up getting it done. And the Karter thing, he's going to irritate us, guys. Like he could announce, he could do what some of these other guys have been doing and just announce today, like after those scrimmages or whatever. But he's got up until the 28th to make that decision. And knowing the way that this works for Arkansas, he probably will do exactly that. So
11:59 p.m. On the 27th. That's when he's going to make his decision. Curtis, in terms of JJ Andrews, LSU, they're just falling behind in this. I thought they were the money bag university now. I thought they were up in the bags a little bit. If you're LSU, like, you have no reason not to just, like, this should be your number one asset right now.
Yeah, I mean, you would certainly think. And, for a while there, I'd say going back to like during the season still, they felt like they had a lot of momentum. I just haven't heard much about them, honestly, here down the stretch run. So for whatever reason, Dennis Gates just loves the state of Arkansas, man. Like, he came in and got Honor Boateng. I'm surprised he didn't go all in for Isaiah Seal. It just seems like they try to take, the top guy out of Arkansas every year if they can. And that usually comes down to how bad Arkansas wants said player. So we'll see what it winds up looking like here. But I'm sticking with the Hogs, man.
Can I offer my unprofessional opinion on the JJ Andrews decision?
I would love that.
I think there are very clear cases to be made. Like, if you are putting yourself in JJ Andrews' shoes, there is a very clear mental case to be made for Missouri, and there is a very clear mental case to be made for Arkansas. Obviously, we know the Arkansas side. You got the legacy situation. You got the Coach Cal. Dude puts everyone in the league. You got the chance that Arkansas is going to be playing on a national stage. You're going to be in the highest level possible. You're going to play with NBA level talent, which should in turn raise your game. All that's fine and dandy. But you also look at Missouri and you have a team that, is more equipped to where if you're, he might be the most talented single player on the team by the time he gets there. Like, that's right. They not that Missouri hasn't had success, but in terms of level of talent, they don't have many guys that are more talented than JJ Andrews just running around there. I think that's got to be pretty appealing. There's also, of course, the NIL aspect. Who the hell knows what these numbers are? But it's like, I really think, like, as much as we like to make this thing, like you said, it seems like it would be a lock. I really think, like, it's anybody who's like super definitive of like, oh, this is the obvious, of course this is going to happen. Like, it just doesn't, like, there's a very, like, both are good visions. You know what I mean? Like, both kind of make sense. I see it. And so it's up to the kid and what is important to him and what he wants to do. And it's hard to begrudge him either way.
Well, I know some people like myself, I just don't want to see, speaking of Missouri, having Arkansas kids on their roster, more than one, and in Arkansas having none. I mean, that it just can't happen. Well, I guess they would have one, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a bad look, although it doesn't matter. I want the best players. I don't care where they come from. And if JJ Andrews ends up being one of the best players, then get one of the best players. But isn't it funny that we, like, and when I say we, I mean, generally speaking, Razorback fans, you could throw media in there or whatever, they're not going to get anything that we want as far as timing, as far as when we want it, anything like that. Like, the fact that at least, we have the announcement, I guess, at 4 p.m. today for JJ Andrews. It wouldn't surprise me at all if some, poll smoker leaked it out at like 2:00 today, be like, confirmed he's committing to Arkansas or committing to Missouri or whatever. And it's just like, none of it ever happens in our time. It's God's time, or in some cases on Cal's time. But that's the thing I think is so funny, where you mentioned it, Curtis, of a lot of the national media, a lot of the national people, they're like, Missouri, it seems Missouri. It's like, well, just wait a second. And it's like, does even the national media, I think the national media gets it more wrong than the local media does when it comes to Cal. Like, I mean, it is incredible how wrong that they've been. So I don't know what to believe anymore.
This is going to be the ultimate litmus test for that too, because it seems like it's very much the national name brand recruiting guys versus the local guys here. I mean, it's really kind of how it seems. So it's going to be cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. Arkansas is going to be fine either way, but you're always partial to the in-state guys. And I'm not going to give away too much of my material, because if and when he commits, I'm going to go live. I got to have something to talk about, or I got to coax Andrew into getting on there with me so we can riff off of each other. But Cal yesterday was talking about his roster building philosophy, and I see the videos there, so I'm sure we might talk about it some, but he's basically like the 4-4-2 model, like return 4 guys, get 4 freshmen, get a couple transfers. He sounds like his bigs to come out of the portal because they're bigger, stronger, more physically developed. Sure. I think that's a cool model. It makes some sense. If you're going to do that with the freshmen, I think they all need to be dudes now. Like, you got to go get those John Calipari classes. But I love the idea of, he's going to go out and get a couple 5-star guards or whatever. He's going to do the Cal thing. He's going to get his Burger Boys, and then always get the number 1 guy in the state, assuming they're, like they've got the credentials, and then go get yourself a big. So Kenny Payne has something to do at practice. That's how I want to see him do their 4 freshman thing. And JJ Andrews would be a perfect start to that.
Yeah, you mentioned getting the number one player in the state, and that fluctuates year to year. Some years, the number one player in the state is the number one player in the country, like Nick Smith. Sometimes it's a top 25 guy, could be a top 50. There's could be years where it's going to be like Isaiah Joe, like the number 88 player in the class or whatever. But a lot of times, it's a guy that you'd like to have on your roster. Is it your number one priority? Is it the thing that you got to live and die by? Maybe not. But JJ Andrews definitely fits like the type of criteria that you're looking for, like you talk about, like he's going to fill out these other spots with other situations either way, with or without JJ Andrews, he's going to have that model. And so I feel like he just is like in that perfect range of good enough to be one of those freshmen you bring in, just checks a lot of boxes. Can we just agree though, that we're not going to do the thing where we turn on Sean Andrews and we shun him from the university if his son doesn't go to Arkansas? I understand it's, the Malik Monk, Marcus Monk, that was a separate deal. This is not that, right? Like we can still let Sean Andrews come back and say what's up at a football game if his son doesn't go to Arkansas, right? Or no?
Hell no. I've already got every bad rep he took at Arkansas queued up for the film breakdown. We're going live either way. It's either going to be to flame him or to overhype JJ Andrews.
His pulling technique wasn't as good as people remember. I agree.
Yeah, no, we're gonna rip Sean Andrews for bailing out on that Independence Bowl because he had nasal polyps. Like we're going to bring that back to the forefront and really, really rip him. I listen, to be honest, to do that question, I don't care. And I think part of that is because it's Coach Cal and I know he's going to have talent no matter what. It's not like I'm not hating on Mike Anderson, but with the Malik Monk situation, it was like, okay, you haven't had a player of this caliber in the state of Arkansas in a long time. Like everyone knew he was an automatic one and done, top lottery pick type of guy, legacy dude that could have been a game changer for the program in that moment. I don't see this as the case. He's a great player, but I don't see him to that level of caliber. And also, back when Mike Anderson was here, you felt like you weren't getting those players at all ever. But with Cal, it's like, well, we got 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming in, or next year, I'm sure they'll have more McDonald's All-Americans coming in. So it's a matter of what you get instead. It's always about how bad did you miss? Well, what were you going to get instead? If you missed out on Malik Monk, you weren't going to get anybody as good as that. That could have changed everything. So that was a big miss. But if you miss out on JJ Andrews, well, I mean, who knows? It could be a great player, no problem. But I feel good about this other 5-star that we got coming in next year, or I feel good about this transfer that they have coming in. I think it's all just about your perception and about where you stand and how you feel about everything going on with the program. So I'm not going to have any ill will or any problems whatsoever. Whatever. Great for the kid. If he comes to Arkansas, can't wait to see him represent the Hogs. If he doesn't, good luck until we play you, and I'm still going to root against you. Simple as that.
We were talking about nothing happening in the right time frame and everything like that. What the most likely outcome here would be that we get both JJ and Karter today. Like, because, we waited around, and then it was Pringle and Ewan, back to back. We're like, holy crap. Okay. And then we were waiting around. What the heck is going on? And then every returner announcement, happens at once. Like we get all that news. And now we've just been waiting around. We're driving ourselves crazy, ripping our hair out. And then we'll get both of these at the same time. And then we'll do the waiting game again, just going, I don't know. Cal said they could add somebody if they want to, but they don't know if they want to, and they might do it, but they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And we'll continue to do this thing where we wait until we're bled dry. And then we just get our cup filled completely over the top and, like one fell swoop.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were doing this where Arkansas didn't have any of these roster spots confirmed until we got that group announcement. And so when you don't have DJ Wagner confirmed to return, you do the game of, well, do they need an extra point guard? Do they need whatever? And we're doing that same thing now with Karter Knox, who, is that level of player that you need to have those backup plans. This reminds me a little bit of when they go to a booth review and they're in there for a while, and the longer they're in there, you're like, oh, they must be overturning this thing because they need to change the yardage. They're doing all this. So I feel like if Karter Knox drags this decision out, the worse it's going to feel, because it's like, does the call on the field stand? You went in kind of thinking you were going to go back to school. Are we overturning this or not, Karter? Like, what's going on? But like you say, it is very possible that it's like, because this is the thing. Anytime people would ask, what's the update on Karter? It's like nothing until the combine. Combine. And so now we have entered that stage that we alluded to a week ago. And so the pressure's on, and we'll just wait with bated breath.
Yeah. It won't matter because what's going to happen is Karter Knox is going to make his decision as soon as Curtis sits down at Baum Walker tonight with his hot dog in his hand. It's going to happen right at that moment is when it's going to happen. So
double fisted Michelob's.
Yep.
That's the more likely scenario here, but yeah, it's
yes, that's true. That's true. But
I've got everything ready just in case, So like if that happens tonight, guys, just give me, 10 minutes. I just got to get to the parking lot and down the road to home, and we'll get rolling. Just get your questions in, and we'll get to them. So
we just got to clone Curtis. Like it can't be that hard,
No,
we need one sitting at home ready to do this, and then one that can go out and have a beer with us. Like, come on.
Yeah, we need an AI version of Curtis. Just do an AI thing. Just type in all the words that you would say in this scenario, type in all the words in this other scenario, and then just have a AI Curtis say it.
Every third scroll I take on the old X app nowadays, it's like a preview. It's like a movie trailer for some dude who buys a robotic wife or like a robotic housemaid or something. And like, I can't escape them. And the problem is, like, I saw the first one, I was like, what the heck is this? And so I watched the trailer, and now every time it's just the same thing over and over and over. We can do the robot version of me. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Michelle would probably appreciate it, honestly, especially once the baby's around.
Kind of like a Chuck GPT. Have y'all seen that commercial? Y'all like that one?
Chuck GPT?
It's Charles Barkley. It's like Charles Barkley, and there's like a little bitty bobblehead version of him, and it's like he's like asking Chuck GPT all this.
I gotta watch this.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is great. We'll continue to talk about some other things going on in basketball as well as get your chats in a bit. But let's do a little what to watch presented by our friends over at Bryant Technologies, where they're dedicated to delivering high quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions. They take pride in their exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping your business operations seamlessly connected and secure. Whether it's structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, or TV mounting, Bryant Technologies has you covered, where they service the entire state of Arkansas as well as the Arkansas bordering states. At Bryant Technology, help you with all of your network and security needs. You can give them a call today at 870-883-0330. And also check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com. That's bryantstechnologies.com with that S in between. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. All right, so let's hear a little bit from Cal. It's always good to hear his just voice give us some good stuff. And yesterday, I guess as part of the road to the, what is it? The road show, I think. Yeah.
Razorback road show.
Tip off tour, whatever. All that stuff. He had a chance to catch up with a few people. And here's what he had to say about adding some players to the roster.
It'll play out. I like what we have. I like where we stand right now. We have the ability to do more if we choose. Sometimes less is more. Like last year, we ended up playing 6 guys, 7 guys, and all of a sudden we're as good as anybody in the country. So we'll see how it plays out. We're ready for whatever happens.
That little smirk that he had when, as soon as he said, he's like, well, less is more, like almost like, yeah, what do you think about that? But as far as him approaching it, we'll see. We'll see if we got to make something happen.
Yeah, is in the remarks that I saw from him, he said, we'll see how it plays out like 15 times. We will indeed, sir. We will indeed see how it plays out. But it really was kind of the message on the pod this morning. It's nice to hear him say pretty much the same directive that he's been, like kind of having his people tell guys like me, which is, can they add? Are they open to adding? Yeah, they definitely are. But they're not going to do it just to do it. It's it's going to have to be the right fit because they're really comfortable with the position that they're in, and that's pretty much exactly what he said there. Not going to get into it again, but I am just going to make the statement that I'll move on. I vehemently disagree with less is more. I just do. I completely disagree with that sentiment there. For a lot of reasons, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to just hope. Yeah, you're right that this is not the first time he said something like this. I mean, he's kind of been saying this all along. Like, hey, we really like the team we have. That's been the messaging. I hope he's playing coy a little bit, right? He's got to be. There's at least some degree of him playing. You know what I mean? Like, because like you said, he keeps saying we'll see how it plays out. Like, I think he's kind of leaving it open ended for a reason. Because it would also be not that hard if he really was not shopping. It would be very easy to be like, I like our team. We're done. We're done. Why do I need to be like, I've got our guys. We can start practice tomorrow if we need it. You know what I mean? Like, to be overly dramatic that way. I think he's being as vague as possible. I'm just hoping. That's just my hopeful way of thinking, because I agree, Curtis.
And he would never, in any circumstance, we know he's a maestro with a camera in his face. Whether it's a press conference or something like this, he's never going to sit up there and be like, yes, we are adding one more. We're looking for this specific position out of the transfer portal, or we're waiting on these guys who are coming out of the draft combine and coming back to school. They've gone, out of their way to operate in silence. So he's not going to give away the trade secrets and something like this. It is what it is. But did I overanalyze every word of these comments this morning on the show? Dadgum right, I did.
Let's split the difference. Knox and Boogie come back. Everyone else, that's it.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I'll say for the sake of with Cal and how he approaches things, it's kind of like a business. If you have some sort of business owner or whatever, they're never going to come out and say, you know what, I think we have just enough money. I think we're good on money. We don't need any more. We're going to be fine. Not saying that, but he's also not saying, God, we got to get money. We need money. We need money bad. We got to go out and find a way to get money, because either way, not saying reasonable, rational people wouldn't always take it that way, but it could be taken of like, oh, geez, they're not happy with what they got right now, so they got to go get one more. And then other people will be like, whoa, you're not happy, or you're happy with what you got? How does that make sense? You want to have more. You want to have the best. So that's why I like the way that Cal, who's a very smart man, last time I checked, and how he's approaching this of just saying, hey, we'll see. Never know. We'll play out. You got a roster that's good enough to win a national championship, Cal? Oh, yeah, you'll see. We'll have to see.
It's very important to set expectations. That's why going into any weekend series with the baseball team, I'm always sitting there saying, man, this pitcher they've got's the best pitcher I've ever seen in my life. That way, if Arkansas goes out there and puts up 8 runs, it's like, wow, you beat the best team in the country. And that's why coaches all the time talk about how great their opponent is. You're setting that expectation. So Cal's kind of just being like, hey, keep in mind, right now, today, with what we have, we're pretty good. So then you get Knox back and you maybe add an addition on top of it. Now you've blown it out of the water. He's setting himself up to look like the hero here, which we will always fall for. Absolutely.
And he's also going to play the hits, whether we like it or not, like he's going to do that. And, we're going to hear about, once the roster's finalized, and if we get to talk to him during the summer or, going into the fall or whatever, it's going to be listen, what you see in November is not what you're going to see in February and March. It's going to be clunky offensively early on, but the defense will be. He's going to say the exact same things. That's what's going to happen. Although I hope that he at least acknowledges that they should be ahead of schedule, given the retention factor there. But that's just something that he would consistently say while he was at Kentucky, and he was also notorious for. And we've talked about this too. Getting to the summer, getting to the other side of the recruiting cycle, and you're going, so you're done? Man, it sure seems like you could really use another, what the heck, man, that he's really taking a risk going thin here. And then they legitimately go out and make a late ad. I mean, they do it all the time. They did it with Trey Mitchell. They did it with Big Z. They got Antonio Reeves back late in the process. He always does that. So I'm fully expecting that to be the case. They might get the team congregated on Memorial Day weekend and be on into summer practices or whatever. And we're chilling with our feet propped up, not paying attention. And it's like, dang, got to go live. And who is this guy? It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, also too, he was asked about Boogie Fland and that whole situation, him being in the portal and everything. Had this banger of an answer about his return.
Yeah, we always said, I have his back, whatever he needs from us and me. And, I love coaching him. So we'll see how it plays out.
There you go. Updates.
Whatever he needs from us. Well, what about $5 million, Cal?
Yes. Wow. Seriously. It's immediate what I thought. I can think of about 7 figures that he needs from you. Let's go ahead and do that, man.
Should we take Cal at his word? Whatever he needs from us. Yeah. Whatever he needs.
Give us your demands, young fella.
He had a laid back nature about it to where he wasn't looking deep into the camera and he's like, we will be getting Boogie Fland back. But he's like, yeah,
Love coaching the kid. He's, we wish him the best. We'll be here if he needs us for anything. Just such a such a great but classic answer from Cal. It's
That was
appreciated.
awesome.
It's consistent there.
And that was
it's rare you get that. We really never get a coach because, like, most of the time when it's a high school kid, you obviously can't, you literally cannot comment on stuff like that. It's rare that we're in a situation where coaches are asking questions about a guy they're kind of maybe in a battle with, or maybe not in a battle with, according to some sources. So that's fascinating that he, like, I don't know if I've ever seen that. Can y'all think of another example where a coach had to comment on a potential portal battle in the middle of it?
not really.
Yeah, I mean, if there is, it wasn't one to this like magnitude of that type of player. And
It's crazy.
yeah, I can't think of an example, but yeah, dude, it's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun to see how this all plays out.
I love the and I mean, obviously he's in the portal, so it's a different situation, but just that quick answer compared to the one that he gave on Adu Thero, you know, where he's just like, oh, Adu. I mean, like if you watch the NBA playoffs tonight and you see the bodies on those guys, that's Adu right now. Like he's ready, man. It just went on and on and on, gushing over him, and then it's like, so yeah, what about Boogie?
We'll see.
I coach him, whatever he needs, you know. We'll see.
See how it plays out. You know, yeah, it's great. Let's go ahead and get to your chats, folks, and check the vibe presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. The doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. Basis Health, they are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more over at basishealth.org. Today, it's Basis Health. All right, getting into some of your chats. Appreciate you, Hickory Hog, for the super chat. Says, appreciate all the coverage, fellas. Woo Pig, Tuck, Finnessee. Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
a big one.
That. Oh, I would have screwed that up if I tried to say it out loud.
Trust me, I said it about 8 times in my head before I let it go out of my mouth. So
It doesn't roll off the tongue the way that Tuck Fexus does. You know?
yeah, because Finnessee. Here's the deal: Finnessee, Tennessee, Hennessy, Lakers, and 5. Like no, like that's how it's. There's other things that, but like nothing has Fexus. You know, it's not a word that rhymes with, like Texas doesn't rhyme with a bunch of stuff, but there's a few things that dealt with Tennessee. So, but yes, appreciate you though, Hickory Hog. Thank you for that. And we got a lot of love for our 10K subscribers on YouTube.
Cool, man. Feels good.
Yeah, we love seeing that. We love getting hyped and our ego stroked. So keep on doing it, everybody. Let's see.
Nothing like a good stroke.
Where was it? Oh yeah, Clinton says, guys, Cal has 8 solid guys on roster already. Don't you think he knows Sealy and Artel will be more than end of bench 9-10 unplayable guys like last year?
Well, your 9th man last year was a 5-star in Billy Richmond. So I don't know that he knows that that these guys who are much less heralded recruits and prospects are going to be better than that.
And let's be honest, last year when Arkansas had basically 10 guys, 10 scholarship guys or whatever, we all said, we were like, we don't love this, but we understand the circumstances. Mm-hmm. Next year, we don't think they will do that. And we said, like, that's how we thought it would play. We thought they would have a legit 12 men, you know, not be, we understood why they'd had what they had last year and we weren't thrilled with it, but we just kind of, you know, we understood it was late in the process, kind of had to throw the roster together. All that's fine. We didn't feel like they were operating with those circumstances this year. So for it to play out that way would be pretty disappointing considering some of the things that we said last year.
If he was, if he was 10 toes down on it the entire season, even when it wasn't working out, saying, hey, it's what like, this is it. This is the way we're going to do it. I'm committed. But he literally admitted, you know, multiple times throughout the course of the season, even once they were turning around, like, yeah, we needed more. We probably needed more. We probably needed one more. We probably, 11 might be better. He said those things.
And by the way,
that's why the expectation was what it was.
He alluded to it in that video there where he's like, once we got to a point in the year where we were playing 6 or 7 guys, we started playing well. And that is a true statement. And it's irrelevant also because that's your rotation. That's not your roster. And that's what we've been saying all along. A 9-man rotation, not a bad thing at all. In fact, going over that is probably weird. Having a 9-10-man roster is different than having a 9-10-man rotation. And so, again, I don't know, and again, I think he's playing coy. We agree that he's playing a little bit of mind games, but I thought him mentioning the 6-7-man rotation. I'm like, that is honestly irrelevant to how you fill out your roster. You don't want to go into, we got 7 guys. We're good now. Let's just call it a day. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this real quick. Speaking of Karter Knox, at least recently, has there been a player that, and I know it's changed with the rule as far as them going to the combine and being able to still come back. I know that's more of a recent rule change, but just recently, has there been a player that played at Arkansas that had a chance to go pro, but have been on pins and needles on their decision and how big it would be if they came back? Like then Karter Knox. I was trying to think I remember Isaiah Joe in that situation where he announced he was coming back, but he didn't. Yeah. That would have been really cool. And really, I think we would have loved to have seen Moses Moody and Isaiah Joe around each other. But has there been another one like that to that level?
I think Gafford would qualify. He had some buzz after his first year. He was in that Karter Knox type of range where maybe could have been drafted, ended up deciding to come back. But I think him, like, once he got that decision, it wasn't as like, we weren't waiting on pins and needles, but he would maybe fit that criteria, right?
I think, yeah. And I think given like first year production and second year expectation and going through the combine and everything like that, Jordan Walsh might fall into that category. And then he did wind up not coming back, but we were still kind of waiting on that one. I remember staying up until the midnight hour of the deadline day, because we hadn't heard anything definitive on that. And it was like, oh, man, I don't know, man, maybe, because he was very much in that early second round kind of range right there. And so there was at least a decision to be made with him.
Yeah. And also, I still just makes me laugh. I think about when Bobby Portis is after his second year, when they just lost to North Carolina in the tournament and was running off the court after a loss. And I don't even remember who it was, but somebody like asked him like, hey, you coming back next year? As he was like emotional and stuff. He's like, no, I'm coming back next year. And they're like, Bobby Portis says he's coming back next year. It's like, I think getting them in the right time. And when they say if they're coming back or not is one thing. But yeah, I think Gafford, that's what's also been fun because Gafford, I remember the U of A got mad. I think it was the U of A because he just I think he tweeted out that he's like, yeah, I'm coming back. And they're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. We need some presentation behind this. All right. So delete that tweet. Let's put a video out or something. Come on now.
Yeah. Not the most social media savvy that Dan Gafford.
No, it was just kind of like, there it is. But who knows? And that's the thing is we saw what happened with the other players on it. I have no idea what Karter Knox is going to end up doing. Is it something that he puts out a tweet? Is Cal going to put it out? Is whatever. I have no clue. I have no idea what to expect.
I would love to have another combination that comes from John Calipari's Twitter.
He definitely ain't going to just randomly tweet out, I'm back. Like, I think it's going to be a little bit of a production. It might just come from one of his accounts, but it'll at least have a graphic that they made.
Yeah.
If it happens this week, it'll be Gavoni. It's like, he's dropping out of the draft, going back to school. That's what I hope doesn't happen. I want a cool video or a little montage or something. Give me a note or something.
Here you go, Cal. I'm going to help you out here. If I was in charge of your social media, what you do if Karter comes back, you just have a slow-mo video of Cal that's zooming out as he's lighting up a cigar in slow motion, and you just have Mr. Karter playing in the background by Lil Wayne. And then that's it. No captions, nothing. And then you do that, you'll send everybody to a frenzy. There you go. You're welcome, Cal. Make that happen. I don't even know if he smokes cigars. He seems like a guy that hopefully does on one of the celebrations.
A little scotch and cigar every now and again. Yeah,
I think it's a safe bet that he's an occasional cigar guy.
Yeah. And it's not cheap cigars either. It's not going down and getting a pack of Virginia Slims and just rolling out there with him, man. He's got the high end stuff.
He's smoking our rent, man.
Let's see. Colton says, Curtis, I have a question. How many quality players do you feel comfortable with having on the basketball roster?
More than they have right now. I kind of go back to what Andrew, the point he was trying to make there a little bit earlier. I love the idea of a 9-man rotation that you feel really good about. But you need more capable body. Like, can there be a drop off? Sure. I don't have an issue with that at all. But like last year, you had your 9 guys and that was it, man. Like, there was such a clear line from, Billy as your 9th man to Jaden or Melo, like whoever the hell was your 10th. Like, you just didn't have any contingencies there. I think there's a good middle ground, and so when I talk about Arkansas need to do more, now I'm not saying that I feel like they need to go out and also get that they have to go get Jameer Watkins and they got to go get another, high level big man. And no, I don't think that at all. In fact, you could sell me on, because if you get Karter back, you got 8 that I would call guys that you can really rely on. You feel good about in your rotation, like a couple McDonald's All-American freshmen, and then your returners and a couple experienced transfers. Awesome. Go out and get one more guy that you feel equally good about. And then if you want your improved depth, like your 10th and 11th men who can play or who would be, ready to step in if somebody gets injured, if that's a freshman Isaiah Sealy or a freshman Rattel or whatever, I'm cool with it, man. I think you need more than 9 guys that you feel good about putting into a basketball game. And they didn't have that last year.
Yeah. No, I want all the players. It goes back to, I just want them all. Give them all to me. That's what I want.
When I was putting together teams at the NAI level or whatever, I like to have 10. Like I like to have my starting 5 and, one guy at each position that I feel good about playing beyond that. And then, yeah, we did just like Cal did. And we had, other guys on the end of the bench that helped us in practice and scout team and everything else. But I think, maybe the line's getting blurred a little bit on, because we're talking about not wanting to upset guys and, hurting feelings and everything like that. This is not like an Eric Musselman deal where they've got so many players that they're, giving Keon Minifield a bunch of NIL money because they don't have any more scholarships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This ain't that. Like your roster is not full. So I do think there's plenty of room to add without having to worry about that too much. Personally, I could be wrong.
Well, and I think that it goes back to almost anything. If you're having to put together, whether it's a roster or something at your company, there's a lot of examples you can use, but it's like there's something to be said about being selective and being slow play and being to where it's like, all right, let's look at the whole big picture. But it's also another thing to where it's like, okay, you don't want to do that too much because then you could end up where you could have gotten some great player. You could have had somebody and you missed out on it because you waited too long. It's like, it's that balance that I think like you can, again, slow playing and being methodical sounds good in theory, which I agree. And I think it's a good thing to do until a certain point where you're like, okay, are we going to sit here once this roster is finalized being like, man, they should have gone after this player who was interested, who they probably could have gotten, but they wanted to wait. Like, there's extremes to both sides. And so it's about how it's played that way. Few more here. Trenton says, hope to see y'all guys at the game today. Well,
be there.
We'll be there
and square
and with bells on and all of that. So yeah, it'll be fun though. 7 o'clock. It's going to be a late one. So we'll see. But also Bids for Me says the Arkansas baseball account just made their best X post of all time. Super cool.
Okay. I think Vids for Me may have been duped, because I think there were a lot of people that were duped that thought that was like an announcement that they were in the MLB The Show game. I don't think that's what that is.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it. I pulled the video. So let's just go ahead and watch it.
It is a good video, though. It is a cool video.
Okay. I'm sure we won't get demonetized.
Welcome to the ball game, everybody. You're watching EA's NCAA Baseball. This is Mike Patrick along with my co-host Kyle Peterson. Thanks, Mike. It's great to be with you.
Okay.
And yeah, they tweeted, I don't remember what the caption was.
Well, okay. Is that Norm DeBryan? Like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like,
the caption was like, we're in the ball game, folks. There like a bunch of people that were like, oh, shoot. And then some people that were like kind of disappointed. It was a cool video, though.
Yeah, that was cool. But I saw that font on the numbers and I wanted to die. That was disgusting.
So if you play MLB The Show, and I've weirdly enough, I've done this because my Diamond Dynasty team, we wear the pins. That's our uniforms, the Razorback pins. You can get you can upload the logos, but they only have like 6 font options, and that's the closest one they could get. The fonts kind of suck. Yeah. So you can have the right logos, but fonts are a little bit tougher.
That was brutal. Oh, okay. Well, shout out to Hazelwood. Hey. Appreciate you, Hazelwood, for the super chat, man. He says, thanks for the Roadhouse, Andrew. See y'all at Baum. John, your hair looks nice today. Thank you. And Kurt, looking like a stud as usual. Man, you were in a good mood today. Shoot.
I'm not.
I did get him
compliments
like
Roadhouse.
What?
So I earned this super chat, basically. But we got some big boys today. Shout out to him and Hickory Hog. That's
awesome, man.
Out of nowhere. Appreciate you, Hazelwood. You're the man.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Always appreciate you, Hazelwood. Let's see. Also,
Yeah, that was really nice, man.
I know it was. It was just kind of thrown back by it. That says Curtis Righteous Gemstones is insane. They're the definition of comedically bricked up. It's funny, but goodness, it's wild.
It's like I knew what the plot was before watching it, because honestly, it was Scotty who he was all over it, and he was always saying, "Oh, you guys start watching this," and I was like, I don't know if it's really my thing. I thought it was going to be like a televangelist spoof kind of, but it's freaking hilarious. Extremely out of pocket, but it's hilarious, man. Guilty pleasure. Anything Danny McBride's in, I watch. Cracks me up, man.
Dude, he's he's the king of HBO. Like that dude is just like, I'm in an HBO show. It's going to be great no matter what.
Well, they just finished Gemstone, so I wonder what his next move's going to be. But no matter what, like, I'm on board. I think Judy
Goggins in it with him.
Funniest TV character.
Yeah. I was wondering if Goggins was in Eastbound and Down, how awesome that would have been. Because I've watched that. I haven't watched Righteous Gemstones or even Vice Principals, but like the second I was sold on Danny McBride and being in like Eastbound and Down, when you start about that kid that was named Rose after their favorite movie, Titanic. He's like, he named it after that crappy movie. He's like, what's his name? Effing Shrek. It's like that is like that's just great stuff, man. And like you said, out of pocket, unoffensive, but good old fashioned comedy. What America needs right now. So
yes, that's right.
Gonna have to check into that and watch that up too. Let's see a few more comments that we will get to. Let's see. We'll get to that one here in a bit. Actually, I'll tell you what. We'll get to a few of those in a bit. Let's just go ahead and jump into, because I know we got Kevin Kopps. He's going to be joining us later into the show. Let's do your Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall, the #1 Razorback shopping experience you'll ever have. We will be there live tomorrow at noon. We're going to be live at 3417 North College Avenue at Alumni Hall. If you come by, you can say hi to us, which I know is what really you want to do. But you can also use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. They're going to have hats. They got jerseys. They got polos. They got everything you can possibly want. And we're going to be giving some stuff away. Not only some apparel, but rumor has it that if you come by, you'll have a chance to win a Pot at the Palace shirt as well as a Bombastic shirt. And I'll make sure to bring in all the sizes for all of you. So that way, you don't freak out if you don't have your size. But we'll have it.
You're going to deal with it. It's free.
Yeah, that's right. Just shut up and take it. But either way, we're going to have that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, got some cool giveaways for that. So come see us tomorrow at Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue. You can also shop them online at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. Use that promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. All right, we're talking about Karter Knox, JJ Andrews, all of those things. And it's a matter of, hey, you're going to get both those guys. Hey, you're going to get none of those guys, one of those guys, whatever it is. So just out of curiosity where the Razorback fans were feeling, what was going to end up happening between these two individuals' decisions. Does Knox return, or does JJ become a hog, whatever it is? Right now, where it's at, 40% of you say Knox does return and JJ Andrews does become a hog. So feeling pretty positive and confident today. That was at 39.5%. And then at 35.5%, people say Knox returns, but JJ Andrews goes somewhere else. So doing the math on this one, if I'm doing it correctly, which is always a risky thing, 75% of you, 3/4 of you think Karter Knox is returning, is really what it comes down to. So there you have it. I'll take all the players. Give me all the players. That's all I want. Give me both. Yep. Give me both. Give me both.
I'm surprised how many Hog fans were expecting them to get both whenever I feel like everybody's assuming that JJ's not going to Arkansas, right?
Oh, well, they're having change of heart.
It depends on who you trust.
Yeah. Who do you trust? And I also thought that it was funny to see how, Hog fans, some days it just, again, it depends on the day. Some days they're, negative Nancy's that are just like, we suck. We're not getting anybody. And then other days they could not be more happy and positive and confident in what all is going on. And so like today's been great. People have been nice to us. Don't jinx it, but they've been nice to us. We've been having good stuff, good vibes, good conversation. So let's keep that part of it going. But
I hope everybody's nice to us at the game tonight. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be nice.
If Arkansas wins, I think it'll be easier.
Yeah. I don't know how, there's going to be 11,000 people there tonight, right? Like for sure. Have to be.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a lot, man. I mean, I don't remember what the Friday game against Texas. Texas Friday through Sunday.
It was a Thursday through Saturday.
That was a Thursday through Saturday. I think that Thursday night game was like 10,800. I bet they crack 11 tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the great weather and everything. Yeah, that's what happens. Arkansas needs to kill, celebrate, kill again, celebrate, kill again this weekend.
Yeah, I like that.
Hey, did y'all see
Karter Knox reference for those that didn't catch that?
Did y'all see the Malik Thomas reference?
Mm-mm.
He got videoed.
I saw something about Malik Thomas. What did he say?
Well, after he dunked on Melo's kid at the Jordan Brand Classic, and they were interviewing some of the guys who saw it and getting his reaction and everything, and he had his little mouthpiece in. He was like, "I had malicious intent. I had malicious intent going to the rim, but malicious intent, kill, celebrate, kill." There's gonna be some dogs on this team. Man.
We are about the violence. We want violence.
Yes,
we want murder and killing to be referenced as much as possible.
Those videos of all the Georgia frat kids, and they'll be like they're like barking at fans, and they'll have the one kid that's like holding them, acting like it's on a leash or whatever. That's pretty much going to be Arkansas basketball coming out to Bud Walton Arena every game with like Billy Richmond, Karter Knox, Malik Thomas, some of these guys, these junkyard dogs.
Nick Pringle, very mean. Yeah, like
dude, and that's what I know it's just does not matter in the grand scheme, but I just want there's nothing more fun than like being in Bud Walton Arena when it's a packed game and all that. And something's going on the court that gets fans pissed off where they don't know what's happening. They don't know what was said. They have no idea, but all they see is two guys get into it immediately. Our guy's right. We're going to kill you. Like that's exactly, that is how it is. It's like, I'm trying to remember. You guys remember? I think we've talked about this. Zach Novak. Do you guys remember him for Michigan?
Yeah.
Never forget. In 2012, Arkansas beat Michigan in that game, and I was in the student section. And Novak was a really good player. Had no problems with him. This is before the whole boo this guy at the Bud thing. But then he did a hard foul on our guy BJ Young, who we haven't heard from in a while, but did a hard foul on him, and it was tough. But then we just hated him, and we wanted to kill him the rest of the game. It's like those are so fun. When it's like, not just because you're doing it for the sake of doing it. It's like that guy did something to my guy. Even if my guy yelled horrible things at him and talked about his mother, doesn't matter. Our guy's right. You're wrong. So I'm wanting that to happen. I can't wait. Let's see. Also, here in the chat, Daryl said, side note, did you guys see Nolan Richardson's video talking about Larry Bird? Yeah, that's a old school video, but yeah, that's a great one from his Hall of Fame speech. If you haven't watched it, it's good.
His Hall of Fame speech is so good.
Yeah. He still is one of the best speakers, man. I wish I had that dude's voice and that dude's ability to command a room. It is incredible.
He projects it so well. It's impressive. It really is.
He don't need no damn microphone.
No,
no mic.
Well, that's why, and the whole thing about the perception's the key to everything. The only reason I always think of Nolan is because he had he said that after that winning the national championship. And every time I say it, I think in his voice of just the deep, almost like Darth Vader type of voicing, which is like, perception's the key to everything. And it's not even like he's having to try to be strong. It's just that, man. So good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, there's another chat I was going to bring up. Jose says, can you show your student section dance video? No, that was on Twitter. You can go look at it. You can look at it there. But I'm glad LSU didn't sweep because I forgot who it was that was saying they want me to do my hair that way again. I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I can.
I think you could. I watched it several times.
Dude, and, that's probably why it ruined my hair. I used this like got to be glued gel that was ridiculous. Like it was literally glue. And it's like probably what ruined my hair is I kept using that nasty stuff. But either way. All right. I'll tell you what, we'll continue on because I know we got Kevin Kopps coming up. So it's going to be a little bit moving faster pace, but still get to all the good stuff. But let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. As we all know, storms can hit unexpectedly. And every time that happens, you want to make sure that the roof above your head is good to go. No one wants any leaks. No one wants any damage. No one wants any of that. The thing is you don't look at your roof very often. Be honest. When was the last time you looked at your roof? Well, it's probably because you haven't contacted HD Roofing. And it's because they'll look at your roof. They'll inspect your roof for free and tell you exactly what you need to make sure that you are going to be at peace of mind. When you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. You can contact them today at 501-428-0429. And you can also check them out online at hdarkansas.com. All right. So my heavy hitter today is a general thing, but I'm very critical of what teams do on social media, and sometimes it's cringe, sometimes it's dumb, sometimes it's just so cliche. One thing, though, I feel like has been very consistent in the space of sports teams and social media is NFL teams announcing their schedule. There are so many great and creative things for that. And I want to give a shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a risky move because of the current climate of stuff, but it was great because what they did is they just put out a video of Sabrina Carpenter in different positions to announce their home opponents. Great, dude. Excellent, because it's creative, it's unique, and it got people talking. You nailed it. So good job. Like, I love the way that they all handle this, but stuff like that where I'm like, I don't even know why and who thought of that. Like, did they have a meeting and they're just like, we got to think of something. Sir, what if we did different positions of Sabrina Carpenter? Johnson, you're a genius. Get on the phone. Let's start putting it together. Like, how did it come to that? I don't know, but it was really funny and really good.
Did y'all see this? You should go. I mean, Curtis,
I gotta get online more. Dang it!
As a Sabrina Carpenter guy, you would appreciate it for sure. But no, I mean, that's how they rolled out their schedule. Did y'all see the one? I think it was the Bills where they did a video with Josh Allen, and he was like, "Just get AI to do it." And then they were like, "That's a good idea," and they get Allen Iverson to read out the schedule.
That's good.
That's pretty solid,
dude. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I love those. Those are always great. So my heavy hitter is NFL teams, but specifically the Jags for being creative and fun with their schedule releases.
I like that. I want to go JJ Andrews so bad, but I'm not going to do it. I don't want to jinx anything. So if he pops for the Hogs, he's going to be the heavy hitter on the pot at the Palace tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that. After I threw shade at the Cardinals last week, I got to continue to give them some love. Their winning streak was snapped. They had a doubleheader yesterday. They lost to the Phillies. The Phillies are really good. Then they got into game 2 and they fell down 5-1 in the first inning. And it was like, okay, so when they play real teams, this is what's going to happen. Came back and kicked their butts, man. 14-7. Nice road series win for the Cardinals. They just continue to play inspired baseball. And for anybody who's been a fan of that franchise for the last decade now, it's just been a miserable experience. So very cool stuff for them. And I got to give a shout out to Derek White. I mean, he balled out last night. It would have been very, very easy for the Celtics to just kind of roll over and be done with it after, what went down with Jason Tatum. And that sucks, man, and speedy recovery for him, obviously. But gosh, man, 34 points. He knocked down 7 threes, and they're staying alive. They're hanging around in there. And Derek White is a big part of the reason why. Role player turned star. All you got to do is give him an opportunity. Hey, a Dude Thero goes down, Trevin Brazile becomes an All-American, right? Jason Tatum goes down, Derek White becomes the MVP. That's just the way they're rolling over there.
Well, I was going to ask you if the city of St. Louis is a little bit worried, because what if the Celtics come back and win this series and then go on and win the title?
That would be insane.
Would it be? I mean, the Celtics are better without Jason Tatum, kind of like Arkansas was better without Boogie Fland. Is it going to be that?
And what's crazy is like the Celtics, the reason they won the title last year is because their role players were just unreal. So it would be kind of funny if like their role players all be, stepped up with Jason Tatum being out, and that's how they did it. The NBA playoffs are interesting. I'm going to stick with the NBA for a little bit here. I want to give a former Cal guy, my heavy hitter, Julius Randle. We talked a lot about the Luka Anthony Davis trade. It's these big blockbuster trade. The NBA is good for about one a year, big trade. Last year, the big trade or last offseason, Julius Randle for Cat, and that whole trade, which came out of nowhere, and it kind of was like, oh damn, like I kind of didn't like it for either team. Turns out it was the right trade for both teams because the Knicks are clearly in a good position to probably go to the finals, and the Timberwolves are now going to end up facing most likely the Thunder. They're in a good spot there. Julius Randle has silenced Draymond Green. You know who Draymond Green doesn't want to start fights with? Actual tough guys, actual big, strong people. He's always in beef with guards or people that he thinks are not going to fight back. Hell, even LeBron, he picked that until LeBron started fighting back, and now he's like, oh, King James, you're the GOAT, LeBron. Draymond is the ultimate. When you bully the bully, he backs down. Julius Randle got that boy silent as hell right now. Love to see it. And love Julius Randle, who also got Kevin Garnett to back down back when he was a rookie. Like, he's an actual crazy person, and not one you want to mess with. So shout out to him. John, are we doing BetSaracen stuff?
Mm-hmm.
We talking BetSaracen? I'll save my other heavy hitter for BetSaracen.
All right. Well, perfect. Well, and also I just have one quick one before we move on to talking about BetSaracen. But I think I brought this up Monday, but I could not remember. But if Quinn was in here, that Auburn D3 transfer and also the first base coach that was on the baseball team.
Yeah, what was his name?
Dude, yeah, it was Andrew Dutton. Andrew Dutton was his name.
Andrew Dutton, yeah.
He it was a really cool moment where he spent 4 years at Birmingham Southern D3 school, and he didn't play at all. He was doing first base coach, which is kind of crazy. You think he's doing first base coach, but he's on the team, but didn't play, hadn't done anything, and hadn't even played this year. He comes in against Jacksonville State. Auburn's just beating the crap out of him. Comes in first at bat, knocks out a home run. Really, really a cool moment. And I'd love to play it, but we'd get demonetized. But yeah, it was a cool moment.
I'm so yeah. I have literally had that written down on my piece of paper right here. Had it written down yesterday, and we got to the heavy hitters. I was like, oh damn, Karter Knox, yeah. Literally had it written down because I thought that was such a cool story. So I'm glad that you pulled that. That's elite level stuff. It really is.
It's the one good side of a team playing a midweek game the last week of the season. Arkansas is never going to do that under Dave. Like, they will never play a midweek game finals week or the last week of the season. And I always think it's funny when other teams do, but that's when you do weird stuff like this.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. So we'll get to more of your chats, folks. We're going to have Kevin Kopps join us here in about 15 minutes, but we also want to look at some of the great specials going on with BetSaracen, where you can download the BetSaracen app right now. It's the number one sports betting app in the state of Arkansas by far, not even close. They always have great specials. They always have parlays, not only for Razorback sports in general, but also all the sports going on across the landscape. And you can get to winning big. You can do parlays, spreads, all that good stuff. So check them out today, BetSaracen.com and the BetSaracen app. Okay, Andrew, I'll go ahead and let you lead that off. So what was the BetSaracen thing you were wanting to bring up? Because I think I saw somebody, Double H, was like, are there any specials you like tonight? So
there are always specials that I like. There's always going to be specials. And a guy that I think I feel pretty good about swinging the bat this weekend is Logan Maxwell, who's made his way back from injury. Hell, there were murmurs a week ago. People were like, I think Logan Maxwell's out for the year. And I told everyone to shut the hell up about that. He comes back. He wasn't great against LSU. I think he was like 1 for 5 or something like that. Grounded into a horrible double play. I don't know what I imagine he was closer to 100% last week than he was a few weeks prior. I don't know if he's quite to 100, but I feel like he's going to be healthier and healthier now that you're not playing midweek games. He got a little bit of rest even last week. I think Logan Maxwell is going to be right back in the lineup and going to be a good guy to watch this weekend. They could definitely afford him. I mean, they need someone in the middle of that order. Whoever they have in the middle, whether it's Maxwell, Iredale, whoever, they go cold as soon as they get into that middle of the lineup spot. So we'll see if they get that. But I like this combo one. I always like the ones where it's two players combined, because literally either one of these guys could just get it themselves. Vahiva Aloy and Logan Maxwell combined over 1.5 RBI, over 1.5 base on balls. So, I mean, just 2 walks, two ribbies. Vahiva literally could do that by himself, get walked twice and hit a 3-run bomb. So I like that. I think Logan Maxwell is going to be a guy to bet on this weekend. There was another one, Kahio Aloy, Reese Robinette, over 1.5 extra base hits, over 1.5 walks. Like both of those guys. There's a couple of like Rocco Pepe home runs. Do not bet on. Rocco Pepe's not going to be in the lineup. Carson Bowles not going to be in the lineup. Kendall Diggs not going to be in the lineup. Don't bet on any of those high level, like big ones. I think Big Country or Logan Maxwell. So you need to be keeping your eye on, folks.
Yep. I actually like, of course the player ones are always great, but I feel this is going to be random, but I'm feeling good about it. You can bet on the highest scoring inning for Arkansas. Give me the third inning. The third inning is when it's going to happen. Arkansas is going to have their highest score. That's plus 450. I'm feeling that tonight. I feel like the third inning is the time. They come alive, settle in, and their highest scoring inning may only be 3 runs, but that one's going to be it. So I like that one as well.
Get back to the top of the order, see their arm for a second time through,
Yep.
I like that. What about Arkansas plus 140 to score in the first inning?
Yeah.
Man, I'd take. I guess I could dabble. I could dabble with that.
It's not their ace is not on the mound tonight, right? He's pitching tomorrow. So
but the dude they're throwing tonight also throws 100 and is also maybe a first round pick as well. So it's like it's not it's not that big, but it is notable that you're gonna root against really their number 2 and then their number 1, maybe the pitcher of the year against a TBA. Right. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Arkansas tonight to win. Plus 850, by the way, for there to be an extra inning. Arkansas, of course, was in an extra inning series opener last week in the middle of the night. Plus 850 for this game to go to extras.
Hey, when I was out there with you guys for the Texas game, what set the tone for a great betting night for me was that first pitch ball.
Yeah.
So,
Zach Root, little change up in the dirt, plus 125.
Yeah, man.
Minus 180 to throw a strike. I like plus 125.
Yeah. No, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I'm also going, I'm just telling you, I put a little bit on the plus 1,000 of 1+ home runs for Cam Kojal and Vahivo Loy, both over half home run each. So I'm just throwing some on that.
They worded this prop insanely.
Yes.
Top 2 projected batters with 1+ home runs. Cam Kojal and Vahivo Loy both over 0.5 home runs, which is the same thing, but it's like they just like worded it very longly.
I guess it's
1,000 for that. Cam Kojal homered last week. Last week you had Kojal and Aloy homer, but it was Cahillo that homered. It wasn't Vahiva.
I guess they worded it because that way it's not like, oh, if Aloy gets 2 home runs and Kojal gets none, then it still counts. I guess they're saying like you have to have both of them hit at least a home run, I guess. But yeah, I'm throwing the mix into that too. So, but yeah, that's just one of or just a few of the mini specials, folks, that you can check out on the BetSaracen app. Let's get to more of your chats too before we get to Kevin Kopps here. Let's see. Vince for me said, you guys see the Colts delete their schedule announcement for being mean to Tyreek Hill, but Jags can post that. Yes, I did see that. That was dumb. Like, don't ever delete stuff. If you're just if it's coming from the place of sense of humor, like do that. Like, I just think it's so dumb when they have to delete and put out an apology and all of this stuff. It's just whatever. But yeah. In fact, the agent Drew Rosenhaus said Tyreek Hill told him that he didn't take the Colts schedule release post seriously and just thought it was really funny. So, hey, if he thought it was funny, then you should have kept it. But it's not going to happen.
Yeah, of course, Tyreek Hill wasn't too bent out of shape about it. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Connor says Theo Vaughn was talking about Pittman on his pod today with Caleb Presley. Was he? I need to hear that.
I'm gonna have to go check it out. Anytime those two dudes get together, it's a good time. Theo and Caleb Presley, and we also know that Pittman, they had an interaction, so it'll be interesting because we kind of talked about that. We were like, did that really happen, or was he just playing to the crowd? So it'd be interesting to hear if he talks to Caleb Presley about it. Maybe we'll get an even more exaggerated version of the story.
Love that.
Dude, Caleb Presley, I guess he, for the third time, talking about him, when he talked with Morgan Wallen for like the third time, was just, I don't know why I crack up every single time I watch it, but it's like you talk about him and Theo Vaughn, him and Morgan Wallen, for whatever reason, really makes me laugh too. So,
yeah.
Let's see. Also, Heartbroken Hog says, Ellis, have you finished Andor yet? What an absolute masterpiece. Rewatching Rogue One so much harder, hits so much harder now, man. They made it worth it.
Yeah, no, it really was very good. They wrapped it up pretty well. It's just very good stuff. We might not get another Star Wars show that good for another 30 years. And I'm being dead serious. Like, I don't think we're gonna get good Star Wars content like that. So we gotta savor this.
You got to make it happen. Let's see. Also, we got Vince for me says, anyone know what the raffle jackpot is looking like?
Give me.
I think it was like 22,000. Yeah. 22. That's how much you'd win. Would be 22,840. The actual jackpot's at 45,000. So,
dude, it's starting to that's getting up there pretty good.
Yeah,
they're gonna if they made this for a baseball game, they should be able to make more than that in football, right?
It's about excitement, man. If people are excited about baseball and they're excited about this weekend, but if it gets to the point where they're no longer excited about football, they're gonna be, I'm not giving a dime to that trash. So. There
will be games with less, but I'm just thinking week 1 football, like that first game, because they'll beat Alabama A&M by 1 billion. I guess that's going to be that'll be in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that'll be the first raffle they do. I bet you they could get it up $40K.
Yeah, it's just funny because they'll do that, and then they have to wait another like 3 or 4 weeks to do another one because they won't be in Fayetteville again for a while. So
never fails, man.
I know, just the tale as old as time, man.
Arkansas football loves going 5 weeks without playing in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, that's their favorite. Heartbroken Hog, appreciate the super chat. Said Cassian Andor's my heavy hitter masterpiece. Man, big on the
Cassian Andor is that guy, man.
Yeah, guess so. Let's see. Woo MF Pick says, based on Cal's 4-4-2 method for roster construction, who will be the 4 guys returning next year?
DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, Isaiah Sealy, and Kareem Martell.
There it is. You heard it here first. What's going to be? John Sullivan says, John, can you stop with the horns? Why? What's wrong with the horns? Well, we did it once today. I guess that thing. Is it too loud? It may be too loud. If that's the case, that's fine. But I'll make it
ring for folks.
Not very loud in my ears, but you know.
No, I'm not going to stop.
Somebody might be driving. And it's like,
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be watching while driving anyway.
Running people off the road, John.
Yeah. Well, then tell people to stop giving us so much super chat money. Sorry. What do you want me to do over here? Let's see. Clinton says, in the hog pen with my college-age son on Friday. Woo Pig Brewery. Man, you may have been already hitting that Woo Pig Brewery. I don't know what's been typed right there, but
like that.
Clint's going to have a good weekend in front of him. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That is good. Also, Jose says, John, do the student section dance live on this live. No, because the last time I did dance was the Gritty or whatever for $100 when Arkansas beat Kentucky. So I'm not going to be pulling that out again. That was a good time though. And let's see. Also, our sweet Arkansas guy, I wanted to bring this up. She says, could you say a prayer for my 85-year-old friend, Claudel? She is a huge Hog fan and battling COVID for the 6th time. She would say, Woo Pig Suey. Well, yeah, absolutely. Hopefully she gets okay. Because I mean, anybody that has to, goes through any of that, but 6 times for COVID,
that's brutal. Yeah, speedy recovery. Good grief.
Yeah. Hopefully it ends up being okay. Camel Hog also says, what does this baseball team have to do for Andrew to wear his Star Wars Rebel pilot helmet during the bombastic? Probably just get a home run.
Nothing.
Not going to take much. I was thinking about this. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for SEC tournament games next week. Because, they're not the end of the world, but they exist and, we're all going to be watching them. So I think I probably am going to go do a live watch along for at least one of those games, especially if they're during the day. If we're in a situation where we need a rally, it's 6-3, down 3 runs going to the 8th, need to get the bats going. That's instead of flipping my hat upside down, I'm putting on the Rebel pilot helmet. Be sure to remind me in the moment though, Camel Hawk, because I'll forget.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's going to happen. But it's going to be a great weekend. And, we had a chance actually to catch up with a guy by the name of Kevin Kopps. I don't know if you heard about him. He won the Gold Spikes Award. It was all in the papers. It was a very big deal, but had a chance to catch up with him, talk about his life, where he's at, reflect a little bit on that 2021 season and all the great things that happened with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from the man himself, Kevin Kopps. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Whenever that song plays, Kevin, do you get emotional like Razorback fans do? Just because everyone, that was your walkout song, man. That's what people correlate that song with, is Kevin Kopps. Does that make you feel a certain way?
Yeah, it does. I don't. Some people know this. When I got my Spotify Unwrapped that year, it said I listened to that song about 900 times. So that has some special memories for me. I actually went away from using it as a walkout, and I went back to it again this year, and it's been good to me.
Yeah. So why that song? Of all the songs, I mean, I don't know how it works with when you're at Arkansas, if they just give you a list of songs you can choose from, or you get to choose whatever you want. But of all the songs, why Heat Waves?
I had never heard it before, and I was thinking about what to do, and I felt like the cops. I really enjoy when the fans do the call the cops stuff, but when I used it as a walkout song, I felt like it was distracting to me. Just like I felt like the mustache when I did the little cops mustache, I felt like that was almost distracting to me. So I was looking for a new one, and one of my buddies played Heat Waves in the car, and I was going through kind of a hard time in my life, and that song just kind of spoke to me, and I just liked it and was worried about using it, a little scared about using it. And then I actually used Paint It Black the first time I came out that year. And then I guess I got the courage to use Heat Waves, and after that, it was history.
Well, it certainly is history, because listen, I'm not going to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy. There are so many songs that, not to say that everyone uses the same one, but there's ones that get replayed. Like if I had a nickel for every time I heard Still DRE by Dr. Dre, as a walkout song, but it's like that song just came in at that moment, and it was meaningful. And I think anytime I have friends of mine, they'll send me a picture if it's on Sirius XM radio, because they know it's like, here it is. This is Kevin Kopps. This is Kevin Kopps' song. So, but I want to get into, of course, when you played here, but just talk to us about how pro life has been treating you. I know it's been a few years since you left the University of Arkansas. I know a lot of Razorback fans keep up with your pro career as much as possible, but just talk to us about how the journey's gone so far and how everything's going right now.
It's been good. I think there's some learning curves. It seems like it's cool. It's like every level is like, it's all baseball, but it almost feels like a different game in a way, especially pitching wise. It's like at different levels, the hitters do different things. They have different tendencies, and it's kind of cool. And and I think I've started to really learn and understand, and I think this year is going to be a good year, because I think have grown in the baseball aspect, and I've also a lot of times, I think like a lot of people, I try to do things on my own, and I was trying to do things on my own, and then I think this year I just just do my best and let God do the rest. So.
Well, I'm curious in your travels, because you go, obviously been a lot of different places in the United States. How do you run into Razorback fans very often? Like, I mean, is it something that you have interactions with them? Is it on social media? I don't know how active you are on social media, but do you have any kind of run-ins with them while you're on the road?
I'm not super active on social media. I'll get cards occasionally. I do occasionally see Razorback fans in some of the AAA parks. I think I ran into more of them when I was in the Texas League and AA, because I think it's a little bit closer to Fayetteville, but we're kind of spread out now. But I'll even get, I think 2 weeks ago, I got an Ole Miss fan that came up to me and wanted me to sign something for him. So I think it's just kind of like a random, but it's always cool. It always makes you feel good.
You told that Ole Miss fan to piss off, right? Like, you're just like, no, man, I ain't doing this stuff.
No.
Hey, you're a bigger man than me. I can give you that, Kevin. You're a bigger man than me. But looking back at that 2021 season, man, I know it was a magical thing. You guys wanted to end it in Omaha. It didn't work out that way. But just when you think about that season, the Golden Spikes year, the dominance that you had, just what are some of the first things that you think of? Is it a certain game, series, moment? Just what really stands out to you when you first think of 2021?
There's a certain game. The certain game that stands out to me is the Florida game when we, when Charlie Welch hit that home run to put us ahead, and then we clinched the conference title. I think that's really the game that sticks out to me the most, and I think that season was weird for me. Just because everything that was happening, it felt surreal, and I think it's hard to describe for me. I kind of had a hard time with it because I felt, undeserving. It just felt like a gift from God that I didn't deserve, and I didn't really understand. And maybe I kind of feel like I think differently, and I didn't really know how to put words to that. And I actually, I have a verse that kind of, if I can read, that I have pulled up that I think describes it the best for me, is how I felt, because I think I was happier that, Arkansas got that, or the Arkansas fans got that, or like Van Horn got that. Rather than me. But the verse is in Ecclesiastes. And it's Ecclesiastes 2:10, and it says, "And whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them, I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for my toil. Then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil that I expended in doing it. And behold, all was vanity and striving after the wind, and there was nothing gained under the sun. And pretty much what it's saying is, like, I did everything, and, you know, I held back no pleasure on the baseball field. I think that could sound bad, but it didn't feel meaningless, but I felt empty still. And I felt like, and what that verse is saying is like everything is meaningless without God. And so I felt empty still, and I felt like God was showing me that, like, he can give you great gifts and he wants you to enjoy them, but, you know, without God, everything is meaningless. And I think that's like a sadder way, or a more depressing way to look at things. But that's kind of always how I've been. I've always kind of been like that. But I think it was like a really good learning tool that God used to show me, you know, who he is. He gives great gifts, but he still wants our hearts.
Yeah, and I think too, like going into that year, you know, you were a guy that had been at Arkansas for a while, and I think that's kind of always the question I've looked at it is, not to say it came out of nowhere, but just the way that it all transpired was just awesome. I mean, it felt like for Razorback fans, hey, as long as you got at least a 1-run lead going into the 7th inning, you've won the game. You know, it was that confidence level. But going into the season, did you feel differently than previous years? I know you had developed and tried to get better as a player and everything, but did anything really stand out and feel different going into that season compared to the other seasons?
Honestly, no. And I think that's why it was so confusing to me, in that sense of like the verse I read. It just felt like a gift from God. But I think the only thing differently is I guess what Hobbs told me this offseason. Previously, I was pitching, you know, I was pitching for my coaches. I was pitching for the team. And that year, he was like, you just started pitching for yourself, you know, in a way. Like, I stopped caring. I gave it all to God. And that was really the difference. And, you know, you could say, you know, it's a mindset switch, because you need conviction with your pitches. And if you don't care in a good way, you don't care, then you have conviction and you don't have any doubt behind any pitches. And I think that was the difference. Is I just started, you know, whatever happens, happens. And when you pitch with that kind of confidence, you know, baseball goes your way.
We're speaking with former Razorback Kevin Kopps here on Inside Arkansas Live. So, Kevin, I'm curious, you brought the moment with the Florida game, I believe, in 2021. I just wanted to ask you really about two specific moments. One, speaking of Charlie Welch, that home run in the regionals there in Fayetteville still may have been the loudest moment I've ever heard in Baum. I know you weren't on the mound for that, but at least at that time. But, you know, that was an awesome moment. Like, walk us through that. And also, Arkansas is playing Tennessee this weekend. And I know that was a very intense series. But just kind of walk us through both of those moments in those games and what you remember about them from your perspective.
Charlie's regional home run?
Yeah.
Who was that against?
That was against Nebraska. It was a pass ball. The bases were loaded. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No. It's fine. You've probably thrown a few pitches and played in a few games.
Baseball games since then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've watched that a lot on YouTube, actually.
Same.
I think I might have been in the tunnel when he did that. Just trying to, you know, focus and lock in. Honestly, I don't remember where I was, but that was every time Charlie came up. I mean, I'm sure the fans remember. It just seemed like something was going to happen. And then when the pass ball came, it kind of gave you a little bit of like, you know, relief. I think the game was tied when the pass ball happened. And then you could kind of tell I think this is where like Van Horn is really good, is like and older players is like you can kind of tell when like a pitcher's not feeling comfortable or somebody's not feeling comfortable. Sometimes it's not obvious, but I felt like at that moment, like I think it was I could tell that like the pitcher wasn't obvious, and then I felt like Charlie was super confident, and it was almost like everyone knew what was about to happen, and then it happened, and then we just got all the momentum back in our dugout, and it was almost like a movie. It was really strange, really awesome. And then Tennessee, that one was weird. That one was weird. I don't really get into like any of like the yelling or the banner back and forth, but so I was kind of oblivious to it all, and I think I was just confused every time something happened. I didn't pay attention when we said something. But I did notice when they said something, and it was just kind of like, I don't know. I just didn't really know what was going on. Like we were getting yelled at. I didn't know why we were getting yelled at. I had to like, I don't know. It was fun, but I really enjoyed playing Tennessee. I felt like it felt like a rivalry, like an old rivalry. I know there's not like a lot of baseball history rivalry at that moment, but it just felt like a rivalry had started, and it was awesome. The energy was awesome, and so it's always fun to have all those emotions in the game when you're playing.
Yeah, I think everybody was confused a little bit, like at the end of the game, seeing Dave and Tony V going back and forth. I think that's what people are going to bring up, and it's been squashed. They're good friends, but I think that's what was so confusing at the time. I don't know if it was that way for the whole team or if everybody was oblivious, but seeing Dave get fired up, seeing all that happen at the end was funny, but also like, I don't know, just very odd. It seemed out of character and all of that, but I guess that's sometimes how baseball is. But do you remember like that? Were you confused? Like what was going on? Because it just seemed like it was a lot happening at once.
Yeah, I was confused at the moment. I kind of thought about it as like, oh, when you and your friend or your best friend, are like yelling at each other. That's kind of what I saw it as. Like, how guys will just kind of let it out. And that's kind of what it seemed like. And after the game, I was like, oh, I'm sure it's fine now. But then I think as far as like the players' emotions, I felt like, how Van Horn always has the players' backs, whether we're right or wrong, he's gonna fight for us. And I think Tony's the same way. And so I think on each side of the players, them seeing their coaches do that, now the players wanted to back their coaches, like the coaches will back them. And so I think that just fired everybody else up and just got the emotions really high.
Yeah, needless to say, they're still talking about it today. Like going into this series, it's still getting talked about that moment. I don't even know if people remember what happened in the series, but they remember that moment from what happened there. But was Tony Vitello on the staff when you first came to Arkansas? I believe he was, right?
Yeah, he was. He was the hitting coach for maybe 2-3 years, maybe.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. So I know you were a pitcher and he was the hitting coach, but did you ever have any interactions with him as far as what he was like as a coach and the dynamic with him and Dave? And I guess Wes Johnson too, who's also at Georgia, is another coach of yours. You're surrounded by College World Series coaches, it seemed like.
Yeah, I had a plethora of coaches. I had some interactions with Tony. I loved Tony. He was awesome at getting the guys fired up. He's been one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. Same with Wes. They're both very unique, and there was a lot to learn from both of them. And it was great to have both of them while I was there. Just taking what I could learn from them at the time, and then holding on to that, and like keeping it with me as I further my career.
Well, I know obviously, you're full of yourself and you lack humility across the board, Kevin. I mean, it's coming off so obvious right here, but on all honesty, you mentioned some of the coaches, but you talked about Wes Johnson, and then you go into Matt Hobbs, who you mentioned you still talk to and still kind of go through all that. What, looking at both of them, but just in general, what did those guys do specifically for your game to get you ready for the pros and to get you to have that final year at Arkansas? What was kind of some of the things that stood out as far as development, as far as mentality? What were they really good at in helping mold your game?
I think they were put in my life at the perfect times by God. I think they're similar but different, Wes and Hobbs. Wes was more, he'd get you emotionally fired up. Wes, I had an issue of not feeling like I belonged for a while. I think Wes saw that in me. He called me up into his office in 2017, and I didn't know why. And he sat me down and just said, "You belong here." And I was like, "What?" And he was just like, "You belong." And that was all he said. And then I left, and I felt like he was reading my emotions, or he could read, he was doing some psychology on me. I felt like that was more of Wes's bread and butter. He's like, he knew he could read people really well and knew what they needed. Like if somebody needed to be yelled at or if somebody needed to be told what he told me, he could tell, and he told me that, and it gave me confidence. And he helped me understand, why my pitches worked and stuff like that. And I felt like I needed that at that moment in my career. And then Hobbs was great. Also one of my favorite coaches. I felt like he was more mature, or for mature, I don't want to say mature players, but he helped me mature. He helped me learn to go ask questions. He helped me learn to learn things on my own, which I think is really important for pro ball, because you can't just be told what to do. You have to know why you're doing things. And Hobbs is really good at that. And he also, I remember, he'll kind of leave you alone too, but I remember, but he's always there if you need him. I remember at Tech, when we played Tech at the beginning of 2021, I didn't do very well. And I didn't know what to do, but I went up to Hobbs and he kind of yelled at me pretty good. And I don't know, it snapped me into it. It snapped me back into it. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit.
No, you're good.
But he instilled confidence in me in a different way, in the way I needed it. And he kind of just helped me emotionally through that season, and helped me to stay on track and helped me to be calm. I think Wes was good at raising emotions. I think Hobbs was good at keeping you calm, because I think that's a really good aspect for pitchers, just to be calm and stoic.
Well, I feel like it's very interesting to get kind of that side of these coaches, because you don't really get to see them a lot, some as fans or anybody that covering it. But before I let you get out of here, Kevin, really appreciate it. But about Dave Van Horn, I know you talked about your pitching coaches and guys, and Dave has had a stretch. I know everyone's talking about winning it all. Yes, he wants to win it all. He wants to win it all more than anybody. But the guy has since 2018, 18 wins in the SEC ever since. I mean, it's just incredible, the consistency, players going in and out, great pitchers, and Hagen Smith here recently, you got Zach Root on the thing, but just Dave Van Horn, your thoughts on him, what he did for you, and the relationship you have, and how often or how much are you able to keep up with him and the Hogs and what they're doing nowadays? Because obviously you're playing, you're a little busy, but just how much are you able to keep up with everything going on with Dave and the boys?
I think Dave is an incredible mind that I think it's harder for me to understand even now. It's a little bit easier being outside of it. I think when you're in college, you're just so, at least me, I was so panicked. But I think it's hard to comprehend how amazing of a coach and mind he is. Like I was saying, especially like playing for him, it almost seems like normal. I think it's the same way when I guess a good comparison would be like, I'm in AAA and all these guys seem very like normal, like baseline baseball. And so like, because I'm in it, it's hard for me to, I guess, grasp how good some guys are or how good we are, or that sort of thing. So I think it's hard for me to grasp how amazing of a head coach Dave is sometimes, just because, I see him like he was my coach. I looked up to him, and I see him, more as a friend now. And so I get to keep up with him and talk to him in the off season. It's always nice to catch up with them. And I love following the Hogs. I don't get to really watch the games, but I keep up with them and see how they're doing. And I really want that last win for them. But yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody is holding out hope. Maybe this is the year. This could be the year. They got a good squad, and it's going to be a good weekend for that too, and everything. But hey, Kevin, man, we really appreciate you joining us. I know you're busy, but you're an all-time great and a lot of eyes of Razorback fans, so they always love to hear from you and catching up. And just know that there's a lot of Razorback fans that sometimes in the middle of June, all they think about is you. So just remember that that's always going to be a thing. But we appreciate you joining us, man. Good luck the rest of your pro career, and hopefully we're able to continue to follow you, man, and catch up with you later down the road.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.